One of the biggest fears we had since we've moved to Japan is basically visa approval. And while it might sound a little dramatic, it's definitely a big deal for us. Our initial visa took about 5 business days to get processed, but I can tell you within that time, it was one of the most stressful moments of my life waiting. We had put in a lot of effort, time, and work to incorporate our business and establish everything else we needed to move to Japan. So if the visa at this point wasn't approved, it would have really ruined everything. And so, needless to say, that was a really scary situation for us. And honestly, don't get me wrong, I fully understand the requirement and the necessity of having a visa, but that doesn't make the process or waiting for that process to go through any less scary than it really is. For my brother and I, because we were approved for a specific type of visa, we were required to renew every year until most recently. And while it seems like renewing is a simple process, it's again another factor that adds a unknown to your life. Because even if you've met the criteria for a visa renewal, it doesn't mean you'll actually get approved. In any case, after moving to Japan on our first renewal, we did all the paperwork that was required by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but there was a discrepancy that we needed to clarify. And I can tell you with certainty, getting that email was something that was horrific for me. And at that moment, I can distinctly remember myself pausing and thinking like, oh my God, what could have happened? The issue was when our house was hit by the landslide, my brother and I put our salary on hold from our own business and had stopped receiving it through the regular channels because we wanted to ensure that the money was saved in case we needed to rebuild our office or we needed to put anything into relocating, all that kind of stuff. And so for a 2 month period, it showed no income for us. And so they were wondering why we were paid 2 months less for that year than we were contracted to. Luckily, we have a really good team of attorneys that work with us, and they were able to explain to them that we got hit by a landslide and that we had paused things because we wanted to ensure that there was liquidity in our business as well as our personal situation. And so, of course, because we had certificates from the city and all that kind of stuff, it was definitely approved. And they said, oh, okay, we understand. And we got a stamp of approval for it. But nonetheless, that kind of put the question in the back of my head, would we be approved the next time we renew? And as a small business owner in this country, it is difficult to generate, large sums of revenue, which if you do, you easily get your renewal because you're making a lot of money for the country. But when you're a medium-sized or small company like we are, the money that you generate is not these huge substantial amounts. So your paperwork really has to be in order. Then, after we finally relocated to Hokkaido, we had to go through the renewal process one more time. This was a big issue for me because I was so worried that we were going to have issues because there was that blimp in the first one. And while things had mellowed out and we were kind of like established a little bit better and we had a good stream of revenue coming in, it was still really scary because I didn't know if it was going to be enough for the ministry to approve. But with luck being on our side for once, they approved us and they extended it for 3 years, which is really good because now we don't have to worry until 2027. My honest thoughts about the visa situation is that I understand the necessity, like I said before, but it makes it very difficult for you to pursue anything really long term while in Japan. And while I say that, I mean because how can you commit to something if you don't know if you're going to be legally allowed to be in the country in the future? So that's why I've been contacted by another type of attorney who said that because of our mother's technical status, we're able to possibly get a better visa through her. And so we're in the process of doing that now. And if we're lucky enough to get that type of visa, then we'll be able to do whatever we want and for a more secured period of time, if not indefinitely. But being completely honest, I have to say being an immigrant in another country is really difficult. So for the people who have been living their life like this for a long time, I give you a lot of credit. But for us, until things are a little bit more concrete and our mother's paperwork is situated so that we can utilize her services, we're going to try our best to keep going along with the visa renewal processes if and when we need to, and do all the other prerequisites that they require of us. Because in the end, it's all worth it because we really do love it being in Japan. Okay, bye!